the office really, we were talking about Thurman, we were talking about Danny Garcia, we were talking about making our move for the world welterweight title. It was just a conversation that came up, and you just said you'd take this fight in a heartbeat. You were true to your word, simply too big to turn down.
I've said that numerous times. You know, this is a fight that makes sense for now. You know, the world title is still the goal, but you can't. This is once in a lifetime. This is a fantasy fight for the British public. I mean, forget about how far apart we were when I first turned pro. The names were still mentioned to me. Eubank was still mentioned to me before I even had my debut fight. So it's just been brewing, and you know, the stars have aligned for October the 8th.
Talk about this rivalry. You obviously grew up in it. You've seen it before. You would have watched the first fight. You see the second fight. They even talked about third, not even so long ago as well. Talk about a fight being personal. This is personal in different ways. I'm sure you have respect for each other, but this is something that's almost been in you from the day you were born.
Do you know what, as Chris said, you know, we both walk the same road, so you've got to respect that, respect all fighters, but when we get in there, we do settle the family business. You know, and I'm taking care of the family business. You know, the last fight was a draw, and you know, it's about time I set the score straight.
Do you see that hunger from Chris Eubank Jr.? He's been in the game longer than you, he's been in those big fights before. We know how ferocious you are, even in interviews, but do you want this more than him? Is that what
I believe so, but at the end of the day, it's not my job to worry about what he thinks or what he does or, you know, his team and how he's approaching this. I worry about what I've got to do. And, you know, I've always worried about what I've got to do, relevant of everyone else and what they're doing. I'm focused on delivering October the 8th for me. I ain't failed to deliver. I ain't tasted a loss, and I don't plan on taking a loss October the 8th.
Come back to you shortly, Conor. Tony, remember many of those conversations in the office, and you had to do the right job, almost making sure the deal was right for Conor Benn, because if it was up to him, 160 wouldn't have been a problem. He still would have signed for the fight. Important, obviously, him stepping up a division and a little bit, that the weight was right, you feel the terms are right, you know that weight is a disadvantage in this fight, but you feel his other attributes will be enough to secure victory on October the 8th.
Well, I think this fight, you know, was always aligned to happen, even from the first day that Conor Benn put gloves on. You know, it's always been spoken about. Like Conor said, it's a fight for the British public. It's probably the biggest fight of this decade or this generation, and obviously I wanted to see the fight happen. I believe in Conor Benn. You know, he's so diligent in his training and the knowledge of the boxing, you know, of his boxing game, and I believe that the weight 157 is what Chris Eubank's team asked for. We agreed to that. So I believe that he'll be strong at that weight. Conor Benn, he spars with all the world level middleweights and super middleweights in my gym day in, day out. You know, I don't, when he fights these days, I don't put him in with welterweight sparring. I always go in with middleweight sparring because, you know, the welterweights, they just don't hold up to him. So I know what he's made of, and I know what he can bring to the table, and that's, you know, that was a big factor in taking this fight. And you know, Conor really wanted the fight. I spoke to Nigel on the phone about it. Nigel said the fight, you know, it's ready to happen, and if the fight presented itself, then it's there, and we're here now, and October the 8th is not far away.
I mean, you look like you're in your prime now, but you were definitely in your prime when these fights were happening previously. Like many, can you quite believe that this fight is happening, and also the size of the first fights? You grew up in an area of good friends with Nigel Benn as well, just the greatest rivalry in British boxing.
Yeah, like me and Nigel go back a long way. I was actually sparring with him around that time, and I was at the second fight, you know, at Old Trafford, and you know, what great fights they was, and he's lived on through all like the last 30 years. People still speak about them fights, and for this fight to happen now, Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr., you know, like we say, it's like a fantasy fight. A lot of the people, the public probably never thought this day would come, but I always thought this day would come. I always thought that this fight would happen, and the time is right now for it to happen, and what a fight it's going to be. You know, Chris Eubank Jr. is a great fighter, a fantastic athlete, and Ben is the same, and they're both, you know, they're both their father's sons, both, you know, they both speak like their fathers, and they both fight like their fathers. So, you know, I expect a great fight on October the 8th, but obviously I've got confidence in my fight with Conor Benn being victorious.
Finally, Conor, those conversations with your dad around this fight, I've seen him on Instagram a little bit, he looked very, very excited. He was over here, I believe he's going to be over for this fight as well, and perhaps even in the gym. He had no doubts as well, this was the right move for you, and he looks almost excited as the rest of us to see this number 3.
No, do you know what? My dad's messaged me a few times after Eubank's form, said, you know what, son, this fight can happen. You know, sooner rather than later. And here we are, mate. But yeah, he's, you can imagine what he's like at home. He just can't wait to go over and do it and win.
Callum, a few questions for your team as well?
Yeah, I mean, Junior, I remember about 4 weeks ago we had a conversation going through the options on the table. I remember exactly, it was a Saturday morning my time, I think it was around midnight your time, and we went through the options and you were very adamant, kind of, we'll do the Benn route. And it was the way you said it, because the other options were interesting options. I know which one I wanted, but it wasn't me to fight. So what was the burning desire on your side? Because in our conversations, it's not a man of too many words, but the way you said it to me was so direct. Normally you're not, you sort of let me almost choose the opponents, whereas this time it was very much, it's him. What was that?
This is a fight that nothing like this has ever happened before in the history of the sport. Two legends who went into a ring 30 years ago and inspired a nation, became superstars, etched their names into not just boxing history, but British history. They did that. 17 million people watching these guys fight twice. And now, 30 years later, their sons, who have both made themselves in the sport of boxing, are going to get in the ring, and then the Eubank Benn name is going to go to war for a third time. You know, something like this has never happened, and I don't think it ever will happen again, ever. That is why I took this fight. That was the main reason I wanted to be a part of this, because I wanted to be involved in something that has never been done before and that can never be replicated. It's exciting, you know. It's very exciting.
Obviously, a lot of us have been looking at old videos and the build-ups to the first and second Eubank Benns, and Senior often referred to Nigel as a very good puncher, but just a puncher. How would you see Conor as a puncher? Just a puncher, or what's your take on him as an athlete?
What's my take on him? He's undefeated. The hype train around him is full steam ahead. He has momentum. He has knockout wins, highlight reel knockout wins. He's doing a lot for himself in the sport. He's been able to get himself into a position where this fight is accepted by the public and makes sense. He is big enough now, physically and profile-wise. He's undefeated in 21 fights. He has that fire, he has that spirit. So we're here, we've made it, we've done it, we've signed the contracts, and we're about to make history. That is, it's exciting. I didn't think, I always kind of thought that this fight may happen, but never this soon. I thought maybe, towards the end of my career, we'll get it on. But I'm seeing on social media that I'm already at the end of my career now. 32 years old. You know, he doesn't have it anymore. He's lost that killer instinct. Roy Jones, you know, he's taken away his fire, and you know, he's a playboy now, and he plays poker, and he travels, and he doesn't really want it. Whereas Benn is the young lion, you know, he's hungry, he's to destroy, he's knocking guys out, and Eubank, he just goes the distance, he doesn't have the power. That's the narrative that people are pushing. It's incredible. It's incredible to see that. It's incredible to see people say that, and it's not just fans. It's actually people in the industry who should know better and who should have more respect for what I've done. But it's okay. You know, I'm used to people being disrespectful, doubting me, and saying I can't do it, and being in these 50-50 fights all the time. You know, I had someone today say, "Oh, it's a 50-50 fight." You think that? It isn't 50-50 to me, but I like that people think that, because, you know, if everyone thought I was going to go out there and just win, then it wouldn't really be a fight. It would be a fight worth having. He believes he can go out there and stop me. He says he can be the first man to do that. You've got balls, kid. You've got some big old balls.
You'll find out, mate. Don't worry about that. You'll find out. You play the underdog card. Oh yeah, they're challenging me.
I don't think I'm the underdog.
No, that's the card you're trying to play.
No, I'm not.
You're trying to play that.
You can't beat
me being dropping weights at disadvantage. Mate, you suggested the weight to us and we agreed. We just simply applied you make the weight. That was all.
Did you send the contract to me, or did we send it?
Oh, sorry, it's your team that are informing my team. So that's not a me problem. We was told you can make this weight.
I can
We
make
said,
it.
okay, well then that's the same, a disadvantage. Surely going up 2 weights is a disadvantage.
We both have advantages and disadvantages leading up to this fight.
Okay, fair, but you're just playing the underdog card.
Connor, you can't beat me.
Okay, but I would say the same about you.
How can I be playing the
You're not
underdog?
seeing this as a 50-50, it's a problem with your ego.
No, it's not.
No, of course it is.
So,
You taking me like this is going to be your problem.
I mean, yes, I am taking you like
Okay, well then you'll soon find out and soon regret it, like I made every single one.
I can't do anything else but
Okay, that's fine. If you carry on playing poker and losing.
I underestimate you because I know what I am.
Okay, and I can say the same.
I don't see the pedigree and the grade that people are giving you. I don't see it.
Okay, but
Maybe
no
I'm wrong.
no one sees it in you. The self-belief is one hell of a thing, isn't it?
Maybe they don't.
Borderline delusional.
Yeah. I've been called delusional my whole
And
career.
so have I, mate.
So we're both just two delusional guys.
Oh, that's fine.
And I guess we're going to find out who's the most delusional in a couple of months, which is the sexy thing about it.
We'll see, won't we?
But I'm not an underdog in my mind. In my mind, it's impossible for you to win. But I like that people are saying that you can beat me, because it just gives me that extra kick up the arse to get up and do what I need to do to get ready for this fight. The weight, yeah, I'm going to have to get to a weight which I haven't been since I was 18 years old. That it's going to be tough. It's going to be very painful to do. And then, not being able to put on a certain amount of weight after the fight, the restrictions, they're fair. They are fair because you are coming up. I won't be 100% on the night. You will.
So you won't be?
No, I won't.
Oh, come on, mate.
I won't.
I see, you know what that screams? That screams excuses.
Well, I mean,
I'm not having 100%.
I can't be anything but real. I can't just. I'm just telling my
the
truth.
weight, though.
That's the way we agreed on. I can't be 100% when I have to go down to a weight I've never been to, and then I can't rehydrate fully. I can't be 100%, but that's fair because if I'm 100%, it's a public execution. We can't do that. So I have to be at a disadvantage to make the fight reasonable. Let's be serious.
Your problem is your ego. See that speaking there? That's your ego.
I mean, is it?
That's all ego, mate.
I don't know.
Same as the name first, when everyone knows it's Benn Eubank. The same as the ring walk. The same as all the other bollocks. Same as all that.
I'll be 60%.
You have all that.
I'll be 60% of the night, and that will be enough to do whatever I want to do.
Well, I'll just go back to the questions for a second. So you both have gone back and forth, not only today, but in the last few weeks on social media. You put out something, I think war is coming, with a subliminal message in there. What would be your message to Connor? What he will experience at your hands in the ring? What experience do you want him to go through in that ring with you? What's your aim? I know you do this often before fights. What would be your statement to that? What should he prepare for?
His old man isn't here today, my old man isn't here today, but I'm going to be his fatherly figure during the lead up to this fight and on the night.
Excuse me, 1 second, Chris. Who's that with the old man hand the whole career? Whole career.
I'm just saying.
Oh, no, I don't need no fucking figure. You do.
I'm gonna be a father.
No, you do. I don't.
I'm gonna take you to school. I'm gonna walk you through the doors. I'm gonna sit you down in class, and I'm gonna stick on you. And I'm gonna teach you every single lesson you need to learn. That's how I see the fight playing out. And if you want to ask me, do I have any advice for him? My advice is
No one asked. No one asked. You're denying that. No one asked.
Kelly asked, so I'm gonna be polite.
You didn't ask. You said what you got to say. You said what you had to say. No one's asking for your advice, mate.
My advice to Connor is get sparring partners who are going to really hurt you for the next 8 weeks. That's the best shot you have because,
But that makes zero sense, doesn't it? That makes zero sense.
October 8th, the pain you're going to experience is, if you don't get your ass kicked in the gym, then it's just going to be too much of a shock to your system when I put it on you on the night. So get some tough guys in your training camp for this fight, please. That way we can make it more of a competitive event on October 8th.
I'm going to ask a question now, and you might want to ask Colin the same question, because it's clear that there's no real reason for the dislike other than the family names. I mean, how was it in your household growing up, the Benn name? Do you remember it as a child, that name? Obviously you were a teenager. What was the, let's say, at the dinner table, was it mentioned? Is it something that you grew up to hate? Like,
I don't hate anybody. I don't have that.
But the words are quite strong, so it's like it's.
I would never give anybody that type of power over me to hate them. That's a very passionate and strong emotion that I would never give anyone the power over me. I don't even dislike Connor. He hasn't done anything to me personally, so I don't dislike him. But at the same time, this fight is personal. The things that his father put my father through, I can't forgive and I can't forget. And I grew up, I watched the mental stress and the toll it took on him preparing for those fights. I watched the injuries and my mother having to look after him after the fights and him going to hospital and him losing half of his tongue. I watched Nigel tell my father on national TV that he hated him. These are all things that I can't forget, I can't forgive. And this is a fight where both our family names are on the line. And we have to uphold those names to the best of our ability. We're both going to do that. That's where it makes it personal. I can't. Nigel is his shot at his losses being avenged is Connor beating me. That's the only way he can ever avenge those losses. That's the only way he can kind of redeem himself. All right, well, my son beat his son. That will help him sleep better at night. I can't let him get those extra hours of sleep. I can't do that to my old man. I have to uphold the family name. I have to do what's right. I have to make sure that the Eubank name stays on top of the Benn name. You know, I'm not letting the Benn name even the school.
Connor, on your side, is it just a little bit deeper? From the
He
bench?
just made it very deep. No, it's not that deep, really, to be honest. You know, Dad had a draw in the last fight. We know he should have won. But, you know, that's that. I'm going to get in there and handle business. And, you know, I'll settle the score.
He's definitely taking you lightly in this fight, believes he can beat you at 60%. Is that mind games? Is that...
I could not really care less, to be honest with you. If he thinks he can beat me at 60%, that's his problem. There's nothing to do with me. I'm going to prepare for him like I prepare for everyone else. And I'm going there, and if I see a slight opening, I'll take him out. I'm going to go for it. You know, he needs quality sparring. That's what he needs. He needs to focus. He needs to stop worrying about everything else. You know, while I'm up at 2, 3 in the morning training, while he's probably still out playing poker. So as far as I'm concerned, you know, I'm hungry. You know, I'm ready for this. Is he though?
Am I ready? Currently, no. I'm overweight right now, and
Okay, well, I'm ready now.
you know, I haven't really been in the gym consistently.
Do you know what? I keep hearing excuses.
No, we have 8 weeks.
No, but that's like just this.
We have 8 weeks. So after this press conference, the training camp starts. You know,
I'm 3 weeks in already.
the weight cut starts. You know, I'll slow down on the poker if that makes you happy. And,
Well, no, can I give you a good beating? I don't want to hear no excuses. Oh, you know, but I was 60%. Oh, you know, but I lost on poker. Oh, but I, you know, I'm at a disadvantage and all that.
There's no excuses, Connor. I'm telling you.
Okay,
you
good then.
can't beat
Good
me.
then. No excuses, please.
You cannot beat me. Okay, so you know, I will get down to the weight. I will do that.
So you should.
I'm not going to get fined hundreds of thousands of pounds for being a pound overweight.
Why are you playing that card? You suggested the weight,
It's
mate.
not, it's not a card. I'm just simply saying what are the penalties if I miss the weight. That's what I'm saying. And I'm
It's
saying
fair, you
that
don't need that money for poker, though, do you?
well, you know, let's not get excited. But you know, I will make the weight, and you know, I'm not going to kill myself in this training camp. You know, I always, you know, preparing for fights, I kill myself in these camps. You know, I train like an animal. I spar killers. I'm not doing any of that for this fight because 1, I don't need to, and 2, you know, the weight is the main thing for me. Weight cut. You know, I want longevity in the sport, and what a lot of people don't know is that what takes it out of you, what really puts, you know, the miles on the clock is hard training camps. Sparring 3-4 times a week for 8 weeks. That takes a toll on you when you do that for years and years and years. I don't need to do that. I don't need to toll myself for this fight. I just need to make sure I make the weight, make sure I'm fit, make sure I, you know, get up to my 60%, and take care of business, you know.
Chris, can I just ask, I really get the feeling that you think you're going to walk straight through Conor Benn.
Absolutely.
That's the game plan.
I don't need a game plan. I just need to show up. What?
We saw in the Williams fight, you boxed offensively, defensively. You didn't really turn the screw in that fight.
He broke his hand in the second round, though.
No, I didn't break. Come on, Callie. Don't indulge.
Why are you making things up,
That
Cal?
story, yeah. I know you're a promoter, but you don't have to take it that far.
I would say it was a strategical performance and we got the job done.
We got the job done. Was it my best performance? I don't know. You know, I dominated the fight. You know, people talk about, oh well, he's lost his killer instinct. Roy Jones has changed his fight style. He doesn't have that. You know, he can't throw all those punches anymore. Listen, if that's what Conor wants to think to help him prepare for this fight, then
Why
that's
are you worrying about what I think?
Oh, I'm not worried.
What you are, clearly. You can come out however you want. It ain't going to make no difference to me and my approach. I'm still going to come out and do exactly the same thing I do every single time. So come out you want.
Can I ask you both a question? Conor, maybe start with you. On the training camp, You've obviously had lots of hard training camps in the past, but do you think that the mindset around this fight is going to change the camp? Is it going to bring
No,
a
because
different
I train.
dimension to it?
No, because I train hard regardless. You know, each fight I treat as my world title fight. There's nothing more I can possibly do. And, you know, it's exactly the same for this fight. If I can raise the bar in training, then I will. If I can push myself more, then I will. But I don't know if I can. I do everything I can anyway. I'm a motivated, young, hungry fighter. So there's nothing more I can do. Irrelevant of who it is, that could be anyone sitting there. I'm still going to train hard. Is there more pressure on my shoulders from the public about this fight? Of course there is, and so he's going to be feeling it as well. But you know, I'm treating the same way I treat everyone else. I prepare the same way I prepare for everyone else, and that's full steam ahead.
Me, on the other hand, I won't be preparing